Hey guys, Jason here with TheChartGuys. Checking out the 5G sector. We're going to start these videos by looking at the 5G ETF, FIVG. Then we're going to get into a look at some tickers, some key movers in the sector. But first and foremost, what has the ETF done for us today? Well, today we had a red day, but overall, things are looking positive. We had a big breakout over 25.10 in yesterday's trading action, a big upper wick, which indicates a shift in momentum, a lot of profit taking, not unexpected after that run up. And now with the red day today, we have a little bit of downside momentum. We've closed the low of our candlestick here with the low of 24.97, not offering us much support. All we really had today was a low day bounce off of the daily EMA 5. So as you've subscribed to Gap Theory, we do have a big range here with no support in recent history and a lot of possible opportunity for us to close this gap. Enough people believe in Gap Theory that I do believe it has something to do with the price action, and at least it will cause long positions to wait for making their entries, and by doing so, of course, they influence the market to some capacity. So overall, on the daily time frame, what do we want to do? Well, we need to set a higher low. Our last low was down here at 24.27. We got a new high. Bulls want to see a higher low over that level. They may want to close the gap to get that done, and then look for that new high before continuing the uptrend. And it looks like overall, bulls are excited. They want to do that, but they're going to be concerned about that gap. So right now, things are looking a little bit bearish. We'll see how they open up tomorrow. If we can maintain today's low of day as a base of support moving forward, that will allow these bulls to consolidate and possibly set that higher low way up here on the daily time frame. I've seen it happen before. We don't always have to close that gap. So we'll see how tomorrow's action plays out for us. All right, I'll take a look at AVGO on the daily time frame. If you were hunting for short positions today and you found yourself looking at a good opportunity, seeing absolutely no follow through, you were not alone. I was stocking shorts on AVGO for the majority of the day, and every time I saw a good trade opportunity, there was just nothing to follow through. No bears were there, and what that does is suggests that the bulls are still in control, or at least bears are not willing to get into massive short positions to drive that price down. So a lack of commitment and a lack of follow through on a break of a key support will tell you that we are simply consolidating. And so far, that is all we are doing. This is healthy consolidation for the bulls. Our RSI is at 71.30, so still overbought. Nice inside bar day today. So that is going to be something for us to watch tomorrow. We're going to be paying attention to the high at 314.28 and the low at 308.71. Whichever one breaks first was often a nice indication of overall direction in the market. Ideally, we'll do this during regular trading action, maybe open right around here where we close, get a good nice drive 314 and set the course for the day. So that's why I'm going to be watching those levels. They don't necessarily indicate the guaranteed move in the direction when you get that break, but it is nice to see that sentiment early on and nice conviction and nice follow through as always. A lot of potential here on the daily time frame. We can stay inside this range, get another inside bar, set up a bull flag on the daily time frame, which would be great for long-term consolidation, or we could break out and see a major move in either direction. Right now, we are still massively overbought on the daily time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we're looking at a little bit of a bull flag. I'd like to see a little bit more extended. I would have liked to see a slightly tighter range here, but you know, you get what you get and you can't get upset. So here we are, 314.28, nice consolidation, possible 4-hour higher low set at 308.71, and looks like the bulls really bought the dip here heading into the rest of the day, or late afternoon I should say, and closing that gap up toward the high day. So bulls are currently in control on a sub time frame, 4-hour consolidation in place, 75.80 is our current RSI. Bulls still very much in charge right now. On the hourly time frame, here is that 314 resistance, and look, here, right at pre-market, we get a double top. I didn't notice this till just now, actually, and I should have noticed that because I was looking for those short positions on AVGO. AVGO 314 double top resistance right now, 308.71. There's that tightening range, and even this is a little bit bull flaggy. So bulls are in control until they lose 308.71. They have the opportunity to break 314 and continue this uptrend, and then they need to get over 316.78 overall to continue the strength that we have been seeing. That's going to be asking a lot because our RSIs are high on the daily and on the 4-hour, and they've just cooled off enough to get underneath 70, currently sitting at 65.69 on the hourly time frame. Bulls still in charge until they can no longer hold higher highs, and then we're going to be looking for a tightening range or a loss of this trend. Taking a look at MRVL on the daily time frame, MRVL had a much weaker day than AVGO. Now, this is something to note. If you're looking at sector-wide strength and you see, you know, the majority of your tickers are having red days or one is having a green day, the likelihood that that one green ticker is a laggard increases. So if everything is dropping and one ticker remains strong, look for weakness in that ticker, because that will be your laggard play. Not necessarily the case with AVGO. We've only started our analysis, but something to keep in mind: when the entire sector isn't trading in tandem, look for those oddities and look for opportunities in those situations. But on the daily time frame, we have a major rejection and a big wick in yesterday's candlestick that we talked about. We see this weakness in today's action. Bulls buying a little bit of the dip here, but overall bears are in control right now. We've got a big gap down here, and we have a long way to go before we establish a daily higher low. In fact, we can go all the way to 23.91 before we can carve that out, and we have a big gap to fill. We've already talked about gap theory, but it's there. We need to be aware of it, and we need to watch price action develop as we head to that extremity. Of course, if we're going to be looking on the hourly time frame, 4-hour time frame, by the time we get there, we're going to be oversold if we see a straight or aggressive drop. So a lot of bounce potential, and that's where we're going to start looking for those higher lows. Those trend changes on those sub time frames are what carve out that opportunity for us. Daily RSI 64.57. Happy, healthy, and bulls still in charge until they lose that 23.91 level. So long way to go. 4-hour time frame looking a little bit bull flaggy. I don't like this last candlestick and these upper wicks. If we lose EMA 26, the negation of this bull flag is very likely, and in which case we don't have a lot of support, probably until this hourly support. I'm assuming this is hourly support at 25.92. If we go to that hourly, there we go, 26.45 is our last low, currently in an hourly downtrend, so a little bit weaker, as we talked about, than AVGO. So in order to turn things around, bulls need to break 27.36 and establish a higher low over 26.45. A lot of proving to do. Consolidation is more than over at this point for the hourly time frame, because we are in that hourly downtrend. 53.78 rather for the RSI. And so far, bulls really need to pull things together, and a lot of proving to do on the 4-hour time frame if they're going to get out of this relatively weak bull flag. All right, next ticker we're going to look at is XLNX. Yesterday we talked about this double top, 97.80. We saw a red day with a MRVL close, which suggests that momentum into the downside. We saw a little bit of volatility with small upper wick, but for the vast majority of what we're seeing here, bears have controlled everything. They've knocked out the EMA 12, 26, and EMA 5. Working on closing that gap. We'll see if they really care about closing that gap. And even though we've just done it, I'm not sure if that's enough to turn things around. I suspect that we still have bearish trends on the majority of the time frames that we're going to look at in this video. We have trend line support from the weekly time frame, and we have a higher, or our last low is 89.83. So anything over 89.83 is what we want to see for the bulls to try and establish a little bit of an uptrend here and a little bit of room to work with. So let's see what they are capable of doing tomorrow. 4-hour time frame looks like we are very close to setting a 4-hour higher low. This would be pretty much where bulls need to do it, with our low and support closing that gap ever so slightly. 93.30 is a low that we want to see. However, this is also a 4-hour bear flag, so we need to be aware of that. If we lose 93.30, that will be an execution of that bear flag, and we will continue to look for opportunities as the bulls try to defend 89.30 as we move down. So that's what that will look like if we indeed see that bear flag play out. But right now, we are still looking at bulls in control of the 4-hour time frame. And on the hourly, a little bit different story. Lower highs, lower lows, a little bit of a rounded bottom. So we'll see if we can bounce above EMA 26, EMA 12 rather, the blue line. Often when we see bounces play out, that is the first place we see rejection, we see weakness, and it looks like, at least initially, we have rejected from that on the hourly time frame. And in order to change this trend, bulls are going to need to stay above 93.30. Long way to go for a new higher high above 95.96. So it's unlikely we're going to get there right away. More than likely, if bulls can do this, we're going to see a rejection high above 93.30 and then start doing a new higher high, higher low pattern. But relatively weak as compared to our other tickers. I would need to see a lot of strength out of the gate tomorrow. And what I would like to see early in the morning would be for bulls to get above 94.57. Where we are now, if we opened, I would need to see that resistance level taken out. I would need to see some conviction. I need to see a higher low form, and that would have me interested in a longer term position, which would play out well on that 4-hour time frame, trying to carve out that higher low. All right, next up is INSG. We had a lot of bearish momentum yesterday. We closed under EMA 12, and we saw that momentum continue today. We had a stronger open rejection from EMA 12, and then we broke EMA 26 before settling slightly above it. Downtrend is in place, possibly an hourly uptrend. We'll see what happens there. But anything over 516 is going to be a daily higher low. That is what the bulls need to continue. If we break 516, we're going to look for a prolonged daily downtrend. Next support would be at the low of 488, then 442, quite a ways to go. So we need to see a little bit of strength here, carve out a base of support against 516, and then try to continue what has been a generally meager overall daily uptrend since early October. On the 4-hour time frame, bear is very much in control, likely an hourly or at the very least a 15-minute oversold bounce here. RSI is at 28.02 on the 4-hour time frame. So if we see some weakness tomorrow morning, the hourly is likely going to be oversold. So looking for that 442 level to act as support, as I mentioned. And on the hourly time frame, here we are, RSI 25.25. We need to see another dip. Ideally, we would look to the low of 450 on that big drop to be a base of support as well. So a double area of support, a zone of support, if you will, 450 to 442. Hourly downtrend very much in place, and possibly setting up an hourly bear flag here. 15-minute time frame, there's that 15-minute oversold bounce, absolutely perfect off 450 psychological, currently rejecting from our EMA 26. So not a lot of strength here. This is not so far a sustainable bounce. We are seeing that slowdown and rejection and a turn on the sub time frames. Bulls need to stay above 450 on the 15-minute time frame if they're going to carve out a higher low, higher high pattern. But right now, quite a bit of weakness. We need to see if we can turn things around. We'll look for that base of support and possibly setting up that daily higher low on INSG. Similar story on our last ticker, ADI. Overall daily strength here. Big day yesterday, of course. A lot of bulls buying the dip here. And we have another a gap to worry about between our two candlesticks on the 1st and the 4th. So keep an eye on those. Possible hourly trend change, maybe trying to carve out a daily higher low here, but we need to see more strength tomorrow. Looking for support at 110.65 at bearish control tomorrow morning. Possibly looking for a double bottom and possibly getting a little bit of a scalp entry at that point. Anything over our most recent daily low of 104.95 is going to be a daily higher low. Bulls trying their best to do this up here, but I'm going to expect more weakness if we break 110.65. 4-hour time frame, bulls still in control until they can set a higher low above 104.95. Not a lot of support here, but looking good so far. Bulls still in control of the 4-hour. Not so much on the hourly time frame. Possible head and shoulders type pattern here, 112.26, 114.43. Now we're looking for a lower high under 114.43 on the hourly time frame. A break of 110.65 would signify that that would be in play, in which case we'd look for a higher low over 104.95 on one of the larger time frames. If bulls can break this pattern, what we're going to see is a new high over 114.43, and that will have the bulls very much in control again, and looking to the upside on the daily time frame with the resistance at 116.95. That's it for today. If you guys are enjoying the 5G videos, please do let me know. We have a great chat room dedicated to 5G inside the Chart Guys. So feel free to check that out as well, chartguys.com. We love charts and we love good people, so come on, check us out.